Cyprus football, the passion, the thrill. The passion, the thrill. The stadium's roar, you can feel the chill. You can feel the chill. The teams are ready, the battles will start. The battles will start with dreams of glory. They'll play with heart.
Hello, hello, welcome to This is Mappa. I'm Stel, and as you can see, I'm all alone. But that's fine, because Thasso is enjoying the Orthodox Christmas, and I hope you guys are enjoying the Orthodox Christmas, if you are celebrating the Orthodox Christmas, that is. So, it might mean it's a shorter show this evening, but then again, a whole bag of stuff has happened since last week. In fact, a whole bag of stuff has happened the last couple of days. So I'm going to try and breeze past this. It's going to be so bloody difficult, honestly, boys and girls. Well, listen, before I start, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to everyone that is a subscriber. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Don't forget to give us a follow on Instagram and X at This Is Mappa, where this week we've smashed well over 120,000 views on our Instagram reels. It's mad. It's all mad. But hey, what can I do? Short form content is king. This is why our views aren't great on YouTube, because we go for like an hour and a half. It's mostly my fault, not Thasso. Thasso is the entertaining one. Anyway, let's start with the Paralimni. Let's start with the weekend's game, where it was Omonia beating Carcedo by a goal to nil. Nothing really happened, to be honest. Both teams neutralized each other really, really well. And then Yorgil won a penalty in stoppage time. Richard stepped up and, yeah, 1-0. Good victory for Omonia Aradipo in a match which they really needed to win. Carcedo needed the points as well. And this new head coach, Lozada, is it Lozada or Rosada? I can't remember. Rosada? It's Rosada, isn't it? He's in a bit of trouble already. But hey, at the end of the day, it's a victory that Aradipo definitely needed. Carcedo obviously needed the victory as well, but they're looking very, very shaky at the moment, and this is a big month. We saw Yevgeny Savin, or we spoke about the other week, Yevgeny Savin talking about the recruitment in the summer. It wasn't particularly great, and now they're feeling the effects of it. So what do you want me to tell you? I've got nothing else, really. Got nothing else about this game. As I said, both teams neutralized each other. It was one of those games where, okay, couple chances here and there, but one moment of madness led to a penalty, and that's it. Omonia Aradipo win the game. Happy days. So let's move on to the next one. See, I already done 3 minutes in one game, so we got another 6 to go. Fucking hell. Anyway, you know what's coming. If you've been watching this show for a while, AEL are next, so you know what's coming when it comes up. Now,
Bengalas y multas al final. El fútbol nos quema, nos hace cantar. Las gradas arden con fuego y color. Los jueces reparten sanciones sin pudor. Corrupción en la sombra, rumores que van, pero el alma del hincha no se puede comprar. Esto es maldad, pasión sin parar, drama eterno que no va a terminar. Entre risas, escándalos y verdad brutal, el fútbol de Chipre es un carnaval.
so AEL with a 1-0 victory over Ethnikos. And they did just about enough at the Dasagi. There was no fireworks, no chaos for once, and just a debutant called Savo coming off the bench to decide the game. Now, the highlights won't show you, but the first half was pretty cautious, borderline pointless, really. I spent most of the half searching for rhythm, like someone was looking for, I don't know, keys that were already in their hand. I think that's the best way to describe it. Ethnikos had the goal disallowed. I wasn't going to bring that up. It's absolutely fucking pointless. It was offside. And then AEL struck with ruthless timing, I guess. Savo nodded in from close range. And later on, as you saw in the video, Ofori received a second yellow card. And Ethnikos, again, a little bit sticky for them. But the good news for Ethnikos and the good news for this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, is that they made a signing, but not just any signing. And for those of you who follow us on Instagram know what I'm talking about. But for those of you who don't, he's back.
Some players chase the moment, some of the moment. And this one right here, sweet, smooth, dangerous in tight spaces. They call him Jussi. Jussi. Sweet like APOEL, Jussi. So juicy. Smooth when he moves it, Jussi. Jussi. Dribbles on the pitch so elegant, like he's Shiropi, slow and digging. Sticky feet, defenders slide. They reach out, but he just glides. Long range shot, let it simmer. Don't rush flavor, let it linger. Net ripples, soft crowd exhales. Another story he casually tells. See, some men shoot quick, but you see, he prefers control. He likes to build up the tension, the moment right before release. That's why they watch him. That's why they whisper. Jussi. Drip when it dribbles. Jussi. Makes it look simple. Jussi. From the spot, don't tease me. Jussi. Jussi.
Ah, yes. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. He is back. Christos Jussi, or Jussi is back in Cyprus, now turning out for Ethnikos. The club welcomed him with bright, upbeat social media posts, carefully sidestepping the minor issue of whether it's a loan or a permanent deal. Now, in all fairness, clarity, as you know, is very overrated in football. Now, over the summer, Jussi headed to Larissa on loan from Karmiotissa, off the back of what we'll politely call a pretty decent season. 9 goals, 4 assists is strong, especially when the team got relegated. A familiar story, one man doing his bit while the ship quietly sinks. Now, why the nickname Jussi? Well, firstly, because when pronounced properly, Jussi rhymes with juicy. This isn't a childish thing from us. It's phonetics, guys. Now, secondly, the hair, the swagger, the sort of confidence that enters the room before he does and orders a drink on his behalf. And finally, the goals. Proper worldies, boys and girls. Long-range screamers, shots that leave goalkeepers staring at the net like it personally betrayed them. Worldies meaning goals, obviously, not women. Although, let's keep that one open. So, listen, I'm glad he's back. And all jokes aside, he was a very, very good player for Karmiotissa. And if he can recreate the form that he had there at Ethnikos, they might be saying Breno who? You never know. Anyway, let's move over to AEL. A lot of stuff going on at AEL at the moment. And let's rock with 3 stories. First of all, the clear out has finally remembered to show up at AEL. If you ask me, Dennis Tomala has been released. A move so unsurprising it barely qualifies as news. Dennis, who, you may ask? Exactly. Signed last January on a free from Heidenheim, Domala brought with him a truly elite injury record. 8 appearances in a year, 1 assist, and a medical file that probably needed its own locker. Free transfer he was, but even a free can be expensive if the player never actually plays. Now, the next in line appears to be Morgan Ferrier, who, according to various websites, no longer part of Hugo Martin's plans. Now, a return to Omonia is being whispered, which feels less like a rumor and more like the footballing circle of life. And finally, some fresh paint on the wall. Daniel Barudi, as you guys know, we spoke about this last week. He's been officially announced as an AEL player. He played at the weekend, believe it or not, came off the bench. So new signing, new hope, clean slate, at least until football does its thing. So there you go. There's AEL. Boys and girls, AEL. Done and dusted. And that Jussi thing took it 2 minutes and 11 seconds. So we're 9 minutes in and we've done 2 games. So I think it's time to move on to another one. And the next game, boys and girls, is APOEL beating Paralimni by 3-0. Thomas scored in the 8th minute. And from that moment, it just felt less of a contest and more like a controlled demonstration. Drazic doubled the lead shortly after the break. Gutsako added a third. Then APOEL spent the rest of the evening knocking the ball about with the confidence of a team that knew exactly how this was ending. So yeah, good win for APOEL. And Paralimni, once again, without a win. Winless in 16 games. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. But we're going to talk about Paralimni in just a moment. But before we do that, we need to talk about APOEL. We need to talk about APOEL because Mr. Pedridi, after the game, addressed the now traditional resignation rumors. APOEL, he insisted, still have an administration. They still have plans and still aren't collapsing despite everyone's best efforts to will it into existence. Now, payments towards the embargo are planned. Obligations will be met. And if anything else happens, it'll be announced eventually. Transfers, well, one target has been identified. Talks are ongoing. And if the embargo lifts and the numbers behave, APOEL may strengthen carefully, sensibly, and without, in inverted commas, blowing the bank. Now, the gentleman on your right-hand side, Yannis Sacha. Now, according to Pedridi, there was no drama. Apparently, the lad wanted to go abroad. His contract was expiring. An offer arrived from Paralimni, and APOEL didn't stand in his way. Pretty simple. I mean, this is the same player that was going to leave a couple of years ago. And Pedridi fell out with Manduka over it. But I'm not going to go into that because we've done that already. Now, speaking of Sacha, it's now official. He is a Paralimni player, having committed himself until 2027. Now, the Cyprus international leaves APOEL, swapping Lefkosia for Agrino. I can't even pronounce it, but you know what I'm talking about. And what clubs like to call a new challenge. The announcement itself was textbook stuff. Academy graduate, first team debut in 2020. All the youth internationals boxed off, and now 10 senior caps. Shirt number 18. You could almost hear the printer warming up. Now, what wasn't quite shouted from the rooftops was the transfer fee. Now, officially, it was undisclosed. Unofficially, let's say the figure doing the rounds is about 100 grand, which, given APOEL's current situation, kind of feels like loose change and more like funding a tenner in a very old coat pocket. And I've done that before. Now, Sacha also ticked the classy exit box, posting an emotional farewell about growing up at the club, thanking teammates, fans, and coaches, and giving a special nod to Pablo Garcia and his staff. No tantrums, no cryptic subtweets, no black and white photo with dramatic lighting, just a polite goodbye and a neatly packaged new beginning. So yeah, everyone's happy. Paralimni's get a motivated midfielder. Sacha gets his move abroad, and APOEL get a small but meaningful financial sigh of relief. Football occasionally does work exactly as advertised, doesn't it? Yes. Now, over to Paralimni. And they announced the signing of Marko Simonovski, a forward who is technically 34, though his CV suggests he's lived several footballing lifetimes already. He was born in Skopje and Simonovski's career reads less like a transfer history and more like a Balkan Europe road trip. I don't want to butcher any of these clubs' names, but we've got Vardar, Metallurg, Skopje, Napredok, Amkar Perm, don't know that, RNK Split, Jetishu Shakhtar. I'm not even going to try. I'm turning to Thasso now. FC or Thasso could do it much better than I. Listen, he's done about 12 teams. Yeah. Now, if football clubs had passport stamps, he'd need an extension. Now, the numbers are respectable. 99 goals, 29 assists in 335 appearances, plus 3 caps for his country. So, yeah. Apparently, he knows where the goal is. Which Paralimni need it, don't they? They bloody well need it. They are tragic. Absolutely tragic. But it is what it is, boys and girls. It is what it is. Anyway, move on again still. Move on. We're bored. We're bored with your monologues. Let's go to the next game where it was Olympiakos drawing 0-0 against Aris. Kind of felt like a small celebration. Aris had the ball, the territory, and the appearance of control, but forgot the part where you score. Olympiakos, as usual, were organised, absorbed pressure, hit the post, and even had the goal ruled out for good measure. Second half, same script. Aris pushed, Olympiakos resisted. Final whistle, 1 point, and it practically dents Aris' title ambitions. And it's asking a lot of questions about the club, about their preparation in the summer, about the coach, and about the administration. We know Joel Damajo is gone. The players aren't clicking at the moment. Is this one of those, I don't know, is it one of those seasons where they're in transition and we're going to see the best of them next season? I don't know. Radko's assistant was also sent off. So wasn't a great evening in Lefkosia for Aris at all. At all. But there was some news, some transfer news for Aris. And they have signed on loan a Brazilian, Gustavo Paye, on loan until the end of the season. On paper, lovely. Low risk, attacking option. Another forward added to the collection because, you know, you can never have too many attackers. But you'd be sitting there thinking, nothing to worry about, right? Well, not quite, because a casual scroll led us to a Brazilian outlet called O Popular, where a 22nd of December article carried the wonderfully mood-killing headline, Vila Nova awaits investigation into the case of Gustavo Paye, accused of SA, before deciding his future. So yeah, the loan deal has been announced. We've got the welcome graphic posted, and then reality quietly clears its throat. Guys. I think I should move on. Don't you think? Don't you think, Angelo? I should move on. I'm not going to talk about this. George, shall I talk about this? I just tried to do a copy and paste in the summer, lazy from their board. I think we'll leave it with that one, bro. We're going to ignore that story. No. We're not going to do this. So, on to the next, boys and girls. And George, you might want to look away, my friend, because this one isn't going to be pretty, because AEK ushered in the new year by gently, patiently, and very publicly explaining football to Anorthosis, winning 4-0 without ever appearing short of breath. Bajic opened the scoring, after which Artemada decided to contribute by shoving the assistant referee, who reportedly responded by calling him a vlaga, which means idiots. Artemada received only a yellow card because football, geography, and international caps clearly matter. Ivanovic made it 2-0, and by halftime, the whole thing had the relaxed rhythm of a midweek training session, just with tickets and a scoreboard. The only genuine tension arrived off the pitch, where a police presence in the Anorthosis end sparked unrest. Officers eventually withdrew, tempers cooled, and the match was allowed to remember it was, in fact, a football game. Now, Anorthosis briefly toyed with the idea of a comeback. AEK said, nope, not going to happen. Milicevic missed a penalty for added texture. And then AEK decided to score twice. Amin scored his first goal for the club before Bajic made it 4. So it was a resounding victory for AEK. Anorthosis didn't even lay a glove on them. didn't lay a glove, and it was bad. It was really, really bad. I watched the game, well, most of it anyway. And part of me felt sorry for Anorthosis. Part of me was like, well, look who's your head coach. But isn't entirely Ketspaya's fault. Let's get it right. You know, he's not on the pitch. Let's be fair. But that performance against AEK was unacceptable. AEK steamrolled them. And this has to be a major concern for Anorthosis because it just shows you how far behind they are. How far behind. You can talk about them being one of the biggest clubs in Cyprus and you'd be right. But that performance, totally unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Mental. But let me see if I've got it because I can't remember if have I got it up. Yes. So this is what I was talking about. What happened at half time? An altercation between the Anorthosis supporters and the police. It wasn't pretty, and once again, it leaves a very sour taste in the mouths of Cypriot football fans because we don't want these things happening. Now, I don't know exactly how it started. I don't care how it started, to be honest, because it shouldn't be happening. And I know that Stella Marco at full time described the incident as shameful. And she went on the radio saying that children were affected by police pepper spray. I mean, she even said that she was carrying out a 3-year-old. I mean, this is bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. Now, again, people are going to be pointing fingers at the police. They're going to be pointing fingers at the Anorthosis fans. As far as I'm concerned, everyone is culpable. And when you go to a football game, these things should not be happening, especially when there's kids there. And unfortunately, it's moments like this that put people off taking their kids to football games. Now, I can tell you from experience, I took my daughter to the Aris game against Agrida in October. There was no trouble whatsoever. Okay, the stadium wasn't full, far from it. But I can safely say that I can take my daughter, her best friend, because I went with my friend who's got 2 kids, 3 kids, we went. And there was no problem whatsoever. They enjoyed the game. That's it. But yeah, but people are going to tell me, well, it's the away end and these things happen. Not acceptable, boys and girls. Sorry, not having it. Not having it at all. But yeah, let's move on and we'll stay with AEK because today they thank you'd Angioski, announcing the mutual termination of their cooperation. Football's gentlest way of saying this has run its course. It's not me, it's you, or it's not you, it's me. Now, the farewell message was suitably polished. We thank the player for his contribution to our team and wish him every success in the next stage of his career, which basically translated to no hard feelings, best of luck, don't reply. Now, see, this is the thing. We spoke about Angioski last week, and we know that he's leaving the club with, 13 goals in 49 appearances, which is kind of respectable. But the thing is, this season, he's only grabbed 1 goal in 11 games, which, come on, it had the relationship wobbling gently before last week's outburst in the Polish press. So it's a slightly sour ending to an otherwise serviceable stint, I'd say. But I think it's more like a reminder that when things aren't going your way on the pitch, shouting about it publicly rarely improves the situation. I mean, you could say unfortunate, you could say avoidable. I'd just say silly boy. Silly boy. Silly boy. Now, Anorthosis. Back to these guys again. Here we go, George. Now, as you know, Anorthosis, absolutely nothing is calm, which, to be fair, is very much on brand. Now, first of all, it looks like they finally located the goalkeeper. Norwegian keeper Jakob Kallström has arrived in Cyprus, and according to Stella Marco, his registration is now a formality, which is basically football's most comforting word, usually meaning the player exists and the paperwork hasn't caught fire yet. Now, once the transfer window closes, the club will explain why each player is joining. And just in case anyone forgot, this squad is also being built for next season. vision, continuity, PowerPoint slides. That's brilliant, isn't it? Now to the main event, a board meeting, which took place yesterday. And the gathering triggered the usual social media meltdown with rumors of Ketspire being sacked, spreading faster than a leaked team sheet. Now, Marco was quick to hose down the story on Sport FM. The meetings, she insisted, were not about removing Ketspire. They happen often. The president talks to everyone. Wild stuff. Now, what was discussed was the league position, the football, and how to escape the current deadlock. A word doing an awful lot of heavy lifting. Responsibility, she stressed, belongs to everyone. Board, staff, players, possibly the kit man. Now, the match against Ethnikos at the weekend is non-negotiable. There's no room for division, faction whispers, or even WhatsApp groups. Unity only. Any disagreements are politely asked to wait outside. Now, she doubled down later, reminding everyone that Anorthosis cannot, or shall I say, must not, be in the relegation zone. Ketspire understands the situation. Everyone understands the situation. Points have been dropped. The people most hurt are those inside the club, which I'm not sure about really, because I'm pretty certain the people hurt most are the fans and the people that have been donating money to the club all this time. And after all the meetings, everyone must wake up united because Anorthosis is bigger than any individual and division is officially cancelled. So yeah, there you go. No division, no arguments, no mutiny. There you go. Now, she mentioned Tosic, a left back. She says there's no collapse, there's no drama, just paperwork. Football's greatest undefeated opponent. She also spoke about Yunus, the lad on the bottom left who played for Napoli and Ajax. He's currently at Schalke. She said, well, basically, you know, we're aiming to get one more signing, but we don't have anything on the lad. More will be said once the transfer plan is complete, which is football code for please stop asking. Now, from what we understand, or what we've seen online, especially with Yunus, he's got a big promotion bonus for Schalke. So with them likely to get promoted, he's going to miss out on it. So there you go. Now, she spoke about the incident at the Arena, and Stella did not hold back. She described the incident as shameful, claiming staff had to physically carry young children away from danger, including a 3-year-old. And yeah, this isn't a metaphor. This is literal. Now, a formal complaint is coming. It won't be brushed aside. And she questioned how many altercations justify police entering the stands using pepper spray, stressing again that the club does not support violence in any form. She ended it with Mario Elia. She said if clubs are interested, Anorthosis are open to talks, but right now, nothing is concrete, nothing exists, and no plot twists yet. Are you bored? Nope. Right, let's go with some comments. Let's have a look. Aris is falling apart this season. Apollon and AEL, they are going to cause a lot of damage to the above teams if the others don't take them seriously. You're 100%. 100%. And the thing is, you'd think that with the financial clout that Aris have, they would have built on that title-winning team. But they've gone a little bit backwards, haven't they? And with the emergence of the AEL money, with the new head coach at Apollon, which we're going to speak about in a bit because they've been brilliant. I mean, at the weekend, they were sensational. We're not going to go into that until afterwards. Aris will be looking over their shoulders for sure. But to be fair, not far off top either. So possibly when they do get their asses into gear, we might see a scary Aris. But the problem that I've seen with Aris, and we've spoken about this on the pod for a long time, they've got fantastic defenders in Goldson and Balogun, but they concede goals. And they concede silly goals. I mean, you see the goal against Agrida when Fotheringham went to clear it, he booted it against Roma and it went in. Like, come on. You ain't going to win league titles like that. Once they shore themselves up defensively, they can be a problem. And they've got players going forward. But then again, you hear stories about Mayambella possibly leaving. Gagulea, I don't know if they're going to renew or sign him permanently. There's talk about Humble possibly leaving. You know, McCausland, I think he's only on loan. Are they going to scrap the season from now? They can't do, surely. My twin partner is near you, actually. He's in Cyprus. If the board think gets Spire will waive away 3 years payoff to part ways, they're mad. This Anorthosis now, and we're done. You can see it's over. It's not over until an overweight female sings. 2 fans got into an argument with the steward, then the police jumped in and sprayed everyone there. Lunatics. Absolute lunatics. Costantino, welcome to the show, bro. My humble opinion, Ketspire should try and lift them up and also their spirit. Instead, that he makes them accept their fate without even a fight. Same things he did with the national team. Well, this is the thing. The early stages of Ketspire's tenure, you could tell he was quite energetic. You could see that. I mean, I remember there was it the goal? Who scored the goal from long range? Game ended 2-2. I can't remember when it was. I can't remember who it was. But he was running down the pitch, celebrating with the players. But then there was another game where after the game, the players were talking to the fans and Ketspire was just standing there like looking away as if like, I don't want nothing to do with this. Then there was Paralimni at half-time where he was one of the last people to go into the tunnel to do the team talk. Like, you could tell that he's the kind of person that when things aren't going his way, he tries to find excuses to cover his own back. But the excuses are up now. It's done. It's done. For me, that team is good enough, that squad is good enough to challenge for top 6. Not to get into top, but to challenge for it. I mean, people keep telling me, or they used to tell me that Roman Bezos was a fantastic player. Where is he? Where's Roman Bezos? You got Sensi there. You got Kiko. Fantastic. The central defense are pretty decent as well. You got experience in Artimada. Vlaga. So, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Nothing wrong with Panayi. He's been brilliant. And we said this last week. Anorthosis statements remind me of Gladiator. Are you not entertained? You're right. You're right. She's brilliant, Stella, though. I love her to bits, man. So, can you play it today for some more pressure? Ipomonim, man. Come on, calm down. We'll do it. Hello, Rockax. Hello, my guy. Right in time, just in time. You might want to tune out for this one, bro. You might want to tune out for this one because the next game is Apollon beating Pafos by 2-1. Marquez giving Apollon an early lead before Bruno doing what Bruno does best, scoring a goal and then antagonizing the supporters. Home or away, he just doesn't give a shit, does he? This is the second time he's done this, and it's the second time that he's ended up having stuff thrown at him. But we're not going to talk about that. He equalized, but Apollon were awarded a penalty, and up stepped Gary Rodriguez. And what happens when Gary Rodriguez steps up to take a penalty? It goes in the back of the net. A victory for Apollon. Big, big, big win. And that means that they've done the double over Pafos this season. Now, great win for Apollon, great performance. They did what every team in this league needs to do to beat Pafos, and that is rough them up. From minute 1, they were in their faces. Morgan Brown, Weisbeck, Marquez, even Diundu was winding up David Luiz when he came on. 20-year-old was winding up, Moro, as they say. And David Luiz fell for it. But they rattled Pafos. And that's the way to beat them. It really is. So that's a big, big win for Apollon. A big, big win. But there's always a but, boys and girls. Apollon's victory was overshadowed by the news that Juan Carlos Carcedo has parted ways with Pafos. it was kind of on the cards a couple of weeks ago. We heard about interest from Spartak. It went quiet. People say, nah, he's not going to go. And lo and behold, he's now the Spartak head coach. And as expected, Carcedo posted a farewell message that hit every square on the how to leave a football club like an adult bingo card. He spoke about 2.5 years being truly special. He spoke about the adventure. He did his thank yous. Players were praised for their professionalism and daily hunger to improve. The club staff got their moment as well. Carcedo noted that success isn't just a tactics board and team talks, but the unseen grind behind the scenes. One hand washes the other. Naturally, the fans received the emotional centerpiece. Unconditional support messages, affection, and the city of Pafos being described as home, which is basically football code for we were treated very well and ate properly. Special thanks were reserved for owners Sergei Lomakin and Roman Dubov, along with sporting director Cristiano Jaretta, for trusting him with an ambitious project that will apparently never stop evolving, regardless of who's holding the tactics clipboard. The final takeaway, thanks for everything, no hard feelings, past diversion, yes, a small part of him will always be Pafos. Now, speaking on Supersport 104, Haris Theocharous stepped in to explain what's been happening and, more importantly, what absolutely hasn't. There's a mutual respect with Carcedo, and of course, respect doesn't win matches. The performance against Apollon wasn't good enough, and at Pafos, the rule is simple: nobody is bigger than the team. Praise came with context, though, because while he said Carcedo helped Pafos grow, Pafos also helped Carcedo grow. So before his role, his CV wasn't exactly overflowing with head coach glitter. The club backed him, he delivered, everyone benefited. So there you go. Contractually, there's no charity involved. Compensation is incoming. The numbers are agreed. The money arrives later because, football. As for Roman Dubov, well, he spoke to Russian media in what can only be described as a thoughtful, well-articulated, I'm not angry, just disappointed. He reminded everyone that not long ago, Pafos barely existed. Success erased problems and pressure was optional. These days, pressure exists, though the club deliberately avoid piling it on when results were coming. Now, at Spartak Moscow, though, things will be tougher. Not speaking the language might help. Ignorance is bliss when you're dodging the media. As for difficult players, awkward conversations, discipline and punishment, let's say those weren't exactly Carcedo's strongest suits. Ideally, the club handles that bit. Now, on Carcedo, the coach, competent, well-prepared, reads situations well, not exceptional. Coaches at Pafos don't scout at all, so he worked with what he was given, occasionally inventing positions along the way. Results mattered most, and once his mind was made up on a player, that opinion was final. To be fair, Pafos was still miles ahead of most rivals. Now, on the farewell, Dubov admitted Carcedo could have left with more grace, not by negotiating behind the club's back. They would have understood, still no hard feelings. If he goes, they back him. Reputation matters. Wow. Now, Portuguese website O Jogo believe former Porto head coach Vitor Bruno is in line to replace Carcedo. But from what we've heard, no decision has been made. And as you guys are probably aware, under-19s coach Sofian Sherfa will take the reins for now. So, what do we say about this? Do we say that the pool of Russia is greater than the pool of Cyprus? Do we say that Spartak Moscow is streets ahead of Pafos? Well, you can say historically, of course they are. They're a much bigger club, much, much bigger. More money, arguably. More prestige, possibly. But there's no Champions League football. And as far as I'm aware, Spartak are, 4th or 5th in the table? I think they're 11 points behind the top team, if I'm not mistaken. I think it just boils down to one thing, and that's a big wage packet. I think that's what it is. And look, you cannot blame Carcedo for doing that. He leaves the club with his stock very, very high. If he was available to coach again, I'm pretty certain any club in Cyprus would want to have him. No one can dispute what he's done for Pafos. And yes, I understand the frustration of the board. I'm guessing he was their long-term guy, and it didn't work out. But when you achieve great things in such a small period of time, your face is in the shop window. So there was always a risk that he was going to go. There was always a risk that a club would come in for him. And he's been at Spartak before. He was there with Unai Emery as the assistant. Did it surprise me that he left? No. Did it surprise me the timing? Yes. Because they're still in the Champions League, Pafos. Time will tell. But what I will say is the next coach that comes in, he's going to have to hit the ground running. Because Carcedo has raised the bar. And any guy that comes in is going to have to get used to these players, going to have to get used to everything around the club, the level of expectation. And let's get it right. A lot of these players will be comparing the next guy to Carcedo. Are they going to play 4 at the back, 5 at the back? Are they going to go with 2 up front, 1 up front? Is the coach going to have the same mentality and man management skills as Carcedo? Is he going to be as nice a guy as Carcedo is? So all these factors. So the next guy that comes in, Pafos are very good at scouting. They've got a massive network, as we know. But they're going to have to pick the coach very, very wisely. It isn't just about his tactics. It's about his mentality. They're not going to want to bring in a guy that's going to walk through the door and say, I'm going to change this, change that, change this. No, the players ain't going to have it at all. At all. Anyway, let's have a look. Let's see some of these questions. Man, I think this is the worst Pafos I've seen this year. This season, probably. Yeah, they've... Listen, they started, as you know, Rockets, they started the season like a house on fire, man. Like in Europe, they were sensational. I mean, they've still been doing well, but at the beginning of the season, they were sensational. The thing is, bro, most of these players have been playing the majority of their games the past couple of years. I mean, this is 2.5 years. We've seen the likes of Pepe in the team. They're going to burn out eventually. And I think now we're seeing it. I don't know. Scoring and mocking. Poor little Bruno, yeah? I want a prediction for the top 3 for the end of the season. Not another time. Not another time. We've got a lot to go through. Top right, photo of cars. Carcedo reminds you of a Chikaros. Stalin posted with this. Yeah. Unless Carcedo is hoping they'll join the Champions League. Is the ban on Russian teams going to be lifted? Has it been lifted? I don't know. And he's playing 4D chess, possibly. For me, this was a huge Christmas present for Omonia. Best decision ever, Pafos. Same situation like Berg's first era comparison, yeah. Unfortunate, but also so true. They will come in. Imagine Pafos go for Amorim. They have the balls to do it. I think Amorim is going to be happy to have a bit of a break. He needs a bit of a break. Anyway, let's move on to the final game. And I've pressed that rewind button like an idiot. So I'm going to have to go back again and fast forward to the right one. Crying out loud. Itchy trigger finger, as I say. So, final game, boys and girls. Omonia went to Pafos and won by 4-0. Panayotou scoring again to give Omonia the lead. Maya made it 2, poking in. Masura shot. Evandro then scored a contender for goal of the season with this lovely strike, bottom corner. And Maya wrapped it up 4-0, emphatic. to be honest, it wasn't as easy as it seemed. First half was pretty even, in all fairness. But Omonia did what they had to do. And that's 3 points. And that's the lead at the top extended. Happy days. Now, let's stay with... In fact, let's go with Agrida first. Let's go with Agrida because there's a bit of news. They signed Carlitos eventually. Carlitos was linked with the club a few weeks ago. They said they're going to sign him. Salamina said, no, it's not going to happen. We're going to take you to court. And here he is. So I don't think any of the legal team had to get involved, did they? No? Fair enough. So yeah, now let's move on to Omonia because a story broke this afternoon. In fact, let's go with let's go with the picture on the left because it took them a bit of time, partly because nothing at Omonia ever unfolds quietly, but the organised supporters group Ethnikos have finally broken their silence, and unsurprisingly, it's less we understand and more we've bitten our tongues long enough. Now, the setting is familiar. Recent incidents, the club's public messaging, and the decision to ban 2 supporters, according to Ethnikos, that combination made the statement unavoidable, mainly to remind everyone that silence should not be mistaken for consent. Now, the stance remains unchanged and refreshingly uncomplicated. No travel bans, no games played behind closed doors, ever. Not in good times, not in bad times, and certainly not when things are already wobbling on and off the pitch. Now, they point to years of unpaid work, sacrifices, and constant presence at home and abroad, politely reminding the room that loyalty doesn't just switch on when it's convenient. They were also keen to clarify that restraint has been a deliberate choice, not a sign of weakness. Over the years, they've swallowed disagreements and avoided public clashes for the sake of the club, a decision they now feel has been badly misread. Instead of calming things down, they argue the club's stance risks splitting the fan base even further. Now, on fines and discipline, the group pushed back firmly. The figures being mentioned, they say, are not simply the fault of organised supporters, but part of a wider disciplinary framework in Cypriot football, one that somehow always seems a little tougher on Omonia than on everyone else. They're not asking for sympathy from the CFA, and they don't expect it either. Tickets were also another flashpoint. They stressed that tickets allocated to organised supporters were never handouts. They never came with conditions, season tickets, privilege cards, the whole lot. Using them now as pressure tools, they say, is disrespectful. And their message to the club was blunt and ambiguous. Take the fight to the CFA over punishments instead of turning inward and clashing with your own supporters over isolated incidents. Responsibilities will be accepted, they insist. Selective punishment and public shaming will not. As for the bans on 2 supporters, the group firmly remains opposed to this. The issue will be pursued with the relevant authorities with the aim of having the bans reconsidered and lifted in the name of unity and the club's wider good. Looking ahead, the message is unity, repeated often enough to make sure nobody misses it. Member briefings across districts, a strong presence at home matches, and a face-to-face meeting with the club's leadership once President Babastava returns are all lined up. The closing words weren't aimed at officials or administrators, but the ordinary supporter. Unity, respect, and love for the club comes first. There you go. Now, the other story involves Panayotou, the defender. There you go. Apparently, Katowice are interested in signing the player. They're going to need to pay a lot of money to sign him because they ain't going to get him. It ain't going to happen. So don't worry about it. It's not going to happen. Pana's not leaving. No fucking way. Not now, anyway. So there you go. There you go. Happy days. Happy days. 49 minutes and there's still a little bit left. Let's go with the league table, boys and girls, while I'm here. Come on. League table. Come on. Rapido. Right. So So as you can see, Omonia are top of the league on 36 points. Pafos have a game in hand on 34, but that game in hand is against APOEL in 4 weeks' time. Third is AEK on 34 points. Then you have Aris on 31. APOEL sit fifth on 29 points. Apollon sixth on 27. AEL 24 points. Then you have Agrida on 19. Olympiakos on 17. Locked in with Omonia Radipu. Then you have Ethnikos on 14, Anorthosis on 14, Carcedo on 11, and Paralimni on 1. That actually looks like the Eurovision table, doesn't it? The first few rounds of Eurovision. And Paralimni, I wouldn't say Paralimni are the UK because the UK will be on 0 points at this point. But yeah, Anorthosis are in the relegation zone by 1 goal, by the way. But it's only 3 points between them and 9th. So it ain't as bad as it looks there, George. Don't worry. Don't worry. All right. Right, what we've got now. Bring up some more comments. Sorry if you already talked about it. We've only just got back from the night in the capital. But shout out to Abel for nearly giving APOEL a scare. Or maybe you're saving that for next time. Well, Andrew, I watched most of that game. And I think Abel were a little bit unlucky. A little bit unlucky. And you guys did well. We could hear you. And Hal was there doing his whole Abel Ultras thing. I'm glad he wasn't wearing his mankini. He said he was going to wear it. He didn't, which is good. Because no one wants to see anyone in a mankini, let alone Hal. Apparently had the blue and white stripe one. I don't know why. Why Hal? That's a bit weird. But hey, it's fine. It's fine. And nothing happened to you guys as well, which is good. Because when you're playing that lot, they can be a little bit angry. But anyway. Pedro says, Omonia said, don't bother still. For Pana, I know. I said it. I said it. Omonia don't need to say it. 14 wins for the championship left, huh? You're confident, isn't it? Oh, true, Andrew. It was a very good game from Abel. With nothing to lose, they gave it their all. Yeah, they did very well. And Stephen Constantine is doing a very, very good job. But that's not really a surprise, is it? Because we know all about him. He's a very, very good coach. Very, very, very good coach. Now, what else have I missed? Shame on me, boys and girls, because whenever... Oh, God, I need to slap myself on the wrist. Let's go back to Carcedo. Because he's left Pafos, as you know. It's another managerial casualty. So it only means one thing.
Here we go again, it's another day. Another manager's out, we couldn't stay. The ink's still wet on that brand new deal, but in Cyprus change is all too real. Oh, another manager is out. It's no surprise we scream and shout. Last season, 18, the year before was more. In this revolving door, who's keeping score?
So there you go, boys and girls. Carcedo leaving. It's a managerial casualty. He's left. So that's number 11. 11 for the season. We're 7 away. 7 away from equaling last season and the year before of 18. We might get it. We might get it. Yeah, Constantino, I know Paralimni won in the cup today, but they didn't win in the league. If you follow our Instagram, follow our Instagram, at This Is Mappa, you will see that United Strand guy wearing a Paralimni shirt saying 146 days since Paralimni last won a league game. I'm cutting my hair when Paralimni win one game. Yeah, of course, it was an AI edit, but hey, it's cool. We got back 3,500 views on that as well. Anyway, now 54 minutes. There is one thing left. It's going to be a long one, boys and girls. So go put the kettle on. Yeah, because you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. He's back.
It's time to spin the wheel. What is coming? We don't know. In the wheel now.
Yep, Vrionidi is back. The CFA sports judge that spins the wheel, and whatever it lands on, that's what your punishment is going to be. But I'm starting to feel sorry for the guy because he's probably got carpal tunnel now, because this recent one, this latest one that dropped tonight, is mental. It's absolutely mental. Okay, so let's go with AEL against AEK on the 22nd of December. It's what I like to call a proper all-inclusive disciplinary package. AEK's assistant coach Ethnikos Achnas was sent off for improper behavior on the bench after deciding to have a lively exchange with the opposing stand behind him. He got a fine. AEL then took center stage. Now, this was behind closed doors as well, but there were some supporters there, and they managed to create enough disturbance to stop the match for 6 minutes, abusing AEK players and staff, and throwing objects towards the visiting bench. Now, not just any objects, guys. It was lit cigarettes and bottles of water. So you could kind of say it's a sensory experience, I guess. The ref intervened, calm was eventually restored, and then the paperwork started. Fine for AEL. But that wasn't all, because the AEL supporters were reported for spitting. So in the 45th minute, Ethnikos, the assistant, was the lucky recipient. And at the final whistle, the spitting expanded to the AEK players and the referees. Equal opportunities, I guess. Fine. They got a fine for that as well. And just to make sure that every box was ticked, AEL were also sanctioned for failing to meet the starting 11 registration requirements. So, yeah. Now, we're going to move on to Anorthosis against Olympiakos, the 0-0. And Michalis Kyriakou of Olympiakos was sent off for denying a clear goal-scoring opportunity. Straightforward football incident, no drama, blah, blah. Now, I scrolled down a bit further, and then we came to Karmiotissa against APOEL. Yep, APOEL fans watching, you're going to love this one. Cast your minds back a few weeks ago. There was a story about the referee getting beaten up, and during the match, the referee's report, apparently it kicked off in the tunnel, and then our mate Johnny Violins, the Karmiotissa technical director, went on the radio and said, well, we don't have a tunnel. So, okay. Well, I think this game has kind of, well, single-handedly justified Trionides' weekly caffeine intake, I think. Let's start with Yannis Bastianou of Karmiotissa. He was sent off for violent conduct after elbowing an opponent in the face, off the ball. He got a fine. Then you got Iraklis Ioannou, who's a member of the Karmiotissa staff. He was sent off for improper behavior. It was defined as continuous protesting of refereeing decisions. Okay. Now, at this point, things were pretty normal. You'd say that is pretty normal. But the stretcher bearer entered the chat. Yeah, so Savas Gibro, he's the guy who's basically there to assist injured players. He brings the stretcher on the field and helps them on. He was sent off for improper behavior on the bench, continuous protests, and then decided to escalate matters by entering the area leading to the dressing room, the tunnel. He displayed unsporting behavior towards the referee and proceeded to punch him in the ribs and near the chest. Now, this was apparently the moment where decision fine was a little bit insufficient. So the decision was suspension until the 6th of January, 2027, and the fine. Fair, right? Now, Karmiotissa as a club also faced consequences. They got 5 yellow cards, which earned them a fine for improper team behavior. That was the warm-up, though, because more seriously, following the final whistle, individuals associated with the home side threatened and violently assaulted the referee during his exit. The referee required hospital examinations afterwards, which is usually the point where everyone agrees things have gone slightly too far. The decision, 3-point deduction, 2 matches played behind closed doors, and a fine. Delicious. Now, moving on to something a little bit lighter. Salamina, the kings of spitting their supporters, but they were reported after their match against Ethnikos Achnas for supporters consuming alcohol, specifically Birez and Zivania. They got a fine for drinking Zivania. I mean, that's like traditional Cypriot hospitality, Ramodo. What are you talking about? And we'll talk about youth football. They tried their best to behave, but it failed. Under 17s, a match between APOEL and Anorthosis. APOEL coach Nicolaidis was sent off for improper behavior on the bench. And in the same match, also featured an on-the-pitch altercation before full-time involving players from both teams. APOEL fined, Anorthosis was fined, and everyone learned nothing. So there you go. What else have we got? Yes, Halkanora. They played Ayanaba. Let's have a look. The football supervisor, the assistant coach, and the players all approached the referee after the final whistle to express their dissatisfaction. Each received a one-match suspension. Again, the stretcher bearer, even he wasn't safe. Two of them, actually. They were declared on the match sheet, but didn't bother showing up. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Omonia Gosinad Ismail, or Omonia 29, as Tasso calls them, Omonia Too Fast, Too Furious. They were reported for throwing objects onto the pitch after full time against Dingeni's Morfu. And in the same game, Dingeni's goalkeeper, Lucas Saka, mocked the home players after the final whistle, sparking a minor altercation. He got a one-match suspension and a fine. So yeah, classic week. Football was played, tempers were lost, objects were thrown, someone went to hospital, and the stretcher guys didn't bother showing up. So yeah, this is Cyprus, this is Mappa, this is Vrionides.
It's time to spin the wheel. What is coming? We don't know. In the wheel now.
Now I can take a breather. And that is that. We're done. Done 1 hour and 2 minutes. Well, actually, it's kind of like 59 minutes because of the UC video. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the show. It's been great talking to you guys again. Thus, we'll be back next week. So you probably get better pronunciation of Eastern European teams. I'm pretty certain of it. So, yeah, thanks again for joining me, for keeping me company. Don't forget to give us a follow on X and Instagram at This Is Mappa. You can follow Thasso at Flares Cafes. I know he's not here, but you can still follow him as well. And that's it for another episode of This Is Mappa. And just for Gulli, because I promised I would do this. This is for you before we wrap it up, because it is kind of a tradition now. Bye. End stream. End stream.
Κάποιοι από αυτούς θα περάσουν, Γιώργο Λεωνίδου, στον αγώνα.
Ο Βρίκης και ο Σίκης είναι που θα περάσουν.
Περίμενε, Βρίκης.
Ο Βρίκης και ο Σίκης είναι που θα εισελθούν.
Ναι.
Yes! Friki, siki, friki, siki. Όλο μπαίνουν, όλο μπαίνουν.